In progress. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Bhastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachaline Nivasesha Sunyavadi Pashtatara Sadharine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Okay, I was going to share the screen with the Brhad Bhagavatamrta, and hopefully I've got the right edition out. I think I have. I made a bookmark last time. Let's see if that bookmark's there. Can you tell me if this is the right page? I ask the same question every week.
It's text 149.
149.
3, isn't it? Yeah. I had my little marker.
Okay, does that sound correct with everyone?
Yes.
Sorry, what chapter, please?
Part 2,
Okay.
chapter 2.
Chapter 2, part 2.
Chapter 2, yes.
And page, please.
Well, I've got it up on the computer, so it's not going to...
333.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, can someone just give us a context of where we are? I was doing something else just before we opened this class, so I didn't get a chance. Trying to remember now.
He's gone to Brahmaloka, hasn't he?
Yeah, I'm just scrolling back.
Because Lord Brahma disappeared for some reason. I can't remember what reason.
Oh, he becomes Lord Brahma.
Yeah, he becomes Lord Brahma. I can't go think about.
I've just gone back a verse and trying to pick up, as you can see on your screen, how amazing it is that these simple women who wander from the forest, that sounds quite new, seemingly spoiled by wayward behavior, have achieved the perfection of unknown. I don't think we read this. Have I got the right
No, I can't.
have I got the right volume open? Eva?
No, you haven't.
It's the wrong volume, isn't it?
Text
Yeah,
149.
part 2.
All right, let me just stop share. Let me go searching for the volume. Sorry, this is taking valuable time.
Okay, we can read and tell you about Lord Brahma then.
Okay, let me open my books. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, let me try this. Part 2, the glories. Oh, this looks more like it.
Knowledge.
Yeah, I was sharing the wrong volume. So let me share again. This makes more sense. Yes, it's good that we didn't recognize it. It means got some memory of what it was.
How Brahma touched a mass of form and it turned into a demon. And that's where Brahma is running away. And that's where Kumar is.
Yeah, and here's my red bookmark, which I was very proud of myself for keeping last week. And I brought out the wrong volume. All right, without further ado, did I press the record button?
Yes, you did.
Okay, so it's recorded
You're
all that.
getting older.
Yeah.
You're forgetting things.
Okay, so yes, Lord Brahma has gone in hiding. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And now
Your hand there, I'm impressed.
Yeah, and now Gopalkumar is now in the position of being a Lord Brahma. So let's just pick it up from there. So Mavachandra, you have your hand raised. So you can...
Anybody else wants to read? I've been talking. It's up to...
Go ahead.
Okay. Text 149. Arranging for the Almighty Lord to be worshipped in all directions with great sacrifice, like the Ashwamedha. I flooded the universe with joy. Commentary. Lord Brahma is responsible for creating the worlds and the bodies of all the species of life and for teaching the living beings in each class their proper work according to the injunctions of the Vedas. Gopkumar enthusiastically promoted Vedic sacrifice for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 150, 151. Even though I was encumbered with the post of the supreme authority in the universe, even though I was glorified in various ways by the Maharishis, the Brahma Rishis, and the personified Vedas, Agamas, Puranas,
Itihasas.
sacrifices, and pilgrimage sites. And even though I was surrounded by great source of delight, I did not give up my natural simplicity. Commentary. Without the strong spiritual qualification of true humility and devotion to the Supreme, no one could avoid becoming intoxicated by the material power and facilitate for enjoyment given to Gopkumar. He now has the highest position in the universe with seemingly unlimited opulences. The greatest sages and the revealed scriptures and the sacrifices personified all attended him in his courts, singing his praises and presenting themselves for service at his pleasure. Nonetheless, he did not think of himself as someone special, as anything other than a humble devotee of the Lord of the universe, Shri Madan Gopal. Text 152. Even so, I was immersed in the waves of the ocean of Brahma's duties, and therefore unable to enjoy devotional service to the Lord as I had before. My mind was too disturbed by anxious concerns. Commentary. Once again, Gopkumar encountered circumstances that awakened within him a desire to go to an even better place. With so much responsibility on his shoulder, life on Satyaloka was troublesome. Brahma's unavoidable duties were unlimited, deep like an ocean, and Gopkumar felt himself drowning in the churning waves. Text 153. Hearing that I would die at the end of lifespan of 2 Parahadas, I was afraid. And as I chanted my mantra, remembering of this Rajbhumi gave me remembrance of this Rajbhumi gave me more distress. Commentary. To avoid being frightened by thinking about his imminent death, Gopkumar Brahma relied on his mantra by chanting only stirred memories of Raj, giving him different kinds of distress. Text 154. But I would derive great happiness from being pampered like a son by the Lord of the universe, and thus the mental agitation I was going through would be dispelled. Commentary. Satyaloka is such a pure place that unhappiness cannot persist for long. Lord Mahapurusha himself would see to this by showering affection on his devotee. He would wash away distress in a flood of bliss. Text 155. Because of being too close to the Lord and serving him as if he were my father, I would sometimes commit offenses against him, but he tolerated all those offenses. Commented. Staying close to a great person was an extended time. For an extended time can be dangerous. As the saying goes, familiarity breeds contempt. For Gopkumar, in the role of Brahma, this danger was compounded by his thinking himself the son of Lord Vishnu. Often a son has no fear of dissatisfying his father because he knows that his father loves him too much to reject him. Indeed, Lord Mahapurusha acted like a doting father, tolerating the childish offenses of Gopkumar. Text 156. Still at times I felt great distress in my mind, but when the goddess Lakshmi showed me motherly affection, I would again become joyful. Thus I lived there a long time. Commentary. Although the Lord showed no sign of taking offense, Gopkumar realized that he was not serving with the proper attitude, sometimes became disturbed, embarrassed by his own behavior towards his father. He would be consoled by his mother, Lakshmi. Thus he lived happily in Satyaloka, even when facing causes of distress. Text 157. Once hearing the residents of Brahmaloka glorified someone who had attended liberation here on earth, I asked them about that amazing event. Text. Commentary. In text 157 through to 230, Gopkumar describes in depth the immediate cause for his leaving Satyaloka. The sages on Satyaloka were talking about someone who had achieved moksha, mukti, or liberation, while living in Bharatvarsh. As they were praising that person, the process of devotional service by which he had gained moksha, Gopkumar, who had never heard of moksha, asked the sages, "What is this moksha? Why are you glorifying someone so much for attaining it?" Text 158. I heard from those all-knowing sages about the super excellence and rareness of liberation, and so I desired it myself. I then asked them how liberation could be attained. Commentary. Among the sages from whom Gopkumar was inquiring were the personified Vedas, who surely were capable of giving him authoritative answers. And Gopkumar's newly acquired eagerness to become liberated qualified him as a fit candidate to hear from the Vedas about the means of attaining liberation. Text 159. Many of the presiding goddesses of the Upanishads answered, joined by Shrutis and Smritis. They said that only by knowledge is liberation achieved, and by no other means. Commentary. The Upanishads are the essential philosophical portions of the Shruti or Veda. They are described here as Divya, which means both presiding deities and brilliantly effulgent. Thus, the Upanishads were present in person in Brahma's assembly along with other revealed scriptures. The Shrutis mentioned separately here are other sections of the Vedas, particularly the Samhitas, Brahmanas, and Aranyakas. The Smritis are the Dharma Shastras, Puranas, Agmas, and so on. The majority of Upanishads, Shrutis, and Smritis declare that moksha, the most excellent and rarely obtained goal, can be achieved only by knowledge. In other words, the Svetasvatara Upanishad 3.8. Knowing him, one transcends death. There is no other path for attaining this goal. Gopkumar's narration will later reveal that the knowledge leading to liberation arises only from devotional service. In fact, the cultivation of knowledge of the Supreme Person and his energies is itself a kind of devotional service. As long as knowledge remains impersonal, it cannot lead to true liberation.
Yeah, can we just try and let's try and understand where we are and what's being described. As far as I can understand, Gopkumar is reflecting on his previous station on Satyaloka. Is that correct? Now he's on Brahmaloka. And let's just go back. How's this? Yeah, here. Once hearing the residents of Brahmaloka glorifies someone who had attained. No, he's on. Okay, so.
Isn't he on Brahmaloka? And even there, he's worried about being the death.
Worried about what?
Dying. Because even in Brahmaloka, you're going to die.
Yeah, although the expanse of life is quite fantastic, but still,
But even then,
as you know, from the lowest planet to the highest planet, all the places of repeated birth and death are stated in Bhagavad Gita. But here it says, the residents of Brahmaloka glorifies someone who had attained liberation here on earth. So it indicates that here on earth, so he's on earth.
yes, so
I asked him,
that
I thought he was in Brahmaloka. So, in order to help us here, where are you, Gopakumar? Where are you, man?
I'm thinking, does it mean that this person who's attained liberation on Earth planet is going to Brahmaloka?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that might be it.
Kumar is there. So they're all talking about this personality who's coming to Brahmaloka from Earth planet, who's attained liberation. Does that make sense? Is that how I'm understanding?
Yeah, can you say that again?
So Gopkumar is in Brahmaloka. And
Gopakumar's in Brahmaloka.
but all the devotees there they've heard that this personality from Earth planet has achieved liberation to come to Brahmaloka.
Oh, and
he wants to know, well, how did he achieve it?
and they're speaking about Gopakumar himself or someone else.
Someone else, I thought, because Gopkumar
Okay.
wants to understand.
Hmm.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't know what do everybody else think.
I
Is
think
that
he's-
some?
What do you think?
Yeah, it's the same. He's in
Okay.
Brahmalok, but someone is coming from Bharatvarsha, and he said that in spite of being in Bharatvarsha, he has attained liberation. So they are all chatting about it.
Okay, yeah, okay, great, thank you. Yeah, okay, that's clear. Thank you. So now the tattva of moksha is being described then.
Mhm.
Yep. And something that we're familiar with, that we don't have to endeavor separately for moksha or liberation. It comes as a natural course of rendering devotional service to Krishna. So that, I presume, is going to be emphasized here, as it said in this last paragraph. Gopakumar's narration will later reveal that the knowledge leading to liberation arises only from devotional service. Yeah. So the cultivation of knowledge of the Supreme Person and his energies is a kind of devotional service. Yeah, as long as knowledge does not as long as it remains impersonal, it cannot remain to true liberation. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, I was just a little bit confused myself. I hope that's helped other devotees as well. Kind of, we're on course, so we're sure, kind of got a clear idea where we are and where we're going. All right, perhaps asking if anyone else would like to read, quite welcome to pick up from text 160.
Shall
Hare
I?
Krishna. Okay.
Okay, Anupama, you do it.
No, you go ahead. Then I can do after that. Doesn't matter.
Okay,
You go
so
ahead,
you go
please.
Maharaj Kishore, then Anupama.
Okay. Text 160. That's the one, isn't it? 160 or 161?
160.
160. But some Purans and Agmas say gravely that this knowledge, difficult to obtain, is easily acquired by devotional service to the personality of Godhead. Commentary: the Agmas are Tantras, textbooks on the methods of devotional worship. Prominent among them are the Pancharatras. Some of the Agmas and Puranas teach the methods of pure devotional service very effectively. And these are the scriptures who, at this juncture, spoke up with unshaking conviction. Text 161. Some other Srutis and Smritis indirectly showed agreement among themselves that the devotional service alone, properly done, liberation is easy to attain. Commentary: in the opinion of the Vaishnavas, Puran and Agmas, liberation is attained by special ease by devotional service, that is, free from material desires and properly executed in all essential details. Hold on. Now, such a pure devotional service by itself, Dayaiva, leads to liberation without help from anything else, as stated in the Brhad Naradiya Purana 32:6 and 430. By one whose devotion is steadfast in Janardhan, the Lord of the Lords, all superior benefits are gained. Such is the excellence of the Lord's devotees. Just as all living beings live under the shelter of their mothers, all perfections lived under the complete shelter of devotional service. The benefits and perfections mentioned in these verses include liberation, though the verses do not specify this, it is implied. Sri Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktyatva anyaya shakya aham ev vidorjuna gnatum drashtum cha tatvaina pravestim cha parantapa. My dear Arjun, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into my existence. Entering into the existence of the personality of Godhead, that is entering his association by its very nature includes liberation. The theist Shrutis and Smritis, among them some of the Dharma Shastras, are in agreement about this understanding, and they indicated this by movements of their heads and by other subtle signs. These scriptures do not promote pure devotional service explicitly, but one may discover the importance of bhakti in their purports. Thus we read in Padma Puran, wife, children, precious necklaces, and wealth, home, horses, elephants, every happiness, and moreover, the attainment of heaven and liberation. When devotional service to Lord Hari is present, none of these are difficult to obtain.
Yeah, just to highlight here that the reason part of this discussion is here because most, if not all, those who follow any part of the Vedas, whether they're, well, let's say the impersonalist path as well, or let's say the impersonalist path, which unfortunately is a large percentage, for them, moksha is everything. That's the goal in life. Often persons from a Hindu perspective, they all want moksha, liberation. Now they have different understandings of what that liberation is. So that's why this is being, as far as I can understand, it's being emphasized here by Sanatana Goswami, because everyone wants moksha. But he's emphasizing here that moksha comes as a side benefit of bhakti to the Supreme Lord.
Can I just say something?
Please, yes.
Yeah, I think as well as you said, it's true that majority Indian Hindus thinks about moksha. And I think it hasn't been educated when we do read Prabhupada's book, that is more than moksha. You know, we have to go beyond that.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
which is sad, which they do not have the education about that.
Yeah, and that's why Prabhupada's books are so valuable for humankind or for everyone, especially they're greatly educational, even for practicing Hindus. Yeah, because wanting moksha is, in one sense, it's like it's a material desire, actually.
Yes.
Maybe a more elevated desire, but it's still material because you're wanting something for yourself. And as you know, we could go on to explain, there's the classic story. What's a classic story to illustrate the selfless nature of the residents of Vrindavan? What story could we bring up here? I could give you a big clue. Krishna had a headache.
Oh, yeah.
Copies.
Yeah, we know that stuff.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And someone could just give us a quick summary of that story for those who perhaps haven't heard of it or can't remember it.
And Narad Muni goes around asking about their headaches. That's right.
Yeah, Krishna has a headache. Go on,
Yes.
Keep going. Suniti,
keep
please.
going.
Oh, no, you say it. Go on, you say it
No,
nice.
it's good enough. It's good everybody speaks. Go on, you know what's happening.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think like when Narad Muni goes and asks, I mean, I don't remember the details, all of them, all around. And I think it was the gopis, they were just ready to give anything, you know, it doesn't really matter what happens to them, but they were just, his headache was important to them, that, you know, as far as Krishna is fine, that it matters to them, you know. So
Yeah,
that's
good. You've got the so you remember the essence of it. Yeah, Krishna had a headache, and he said the only reason to get rid of this headache if I have the dust from the lotus feet of the devotees. So then Narad went asking for the dust from their feet. And they were horrified. How can we surely we will go to hell. We take the dust from their feet. So then he went to the gopis, and they said, "No problem. We will go to hell." It kind of highlights their selfless. Just like if the head pujari, if I was to come or Vamsi was to come and say, actually, can we take the dust from your feet and rub it on Radha Londoneshwar?
no way.
No way. So, you know, this illustrates that the gopis are not interested in anything for themselves or the resident of Vrindavan. Everything is for Krishna. And even if they have to go to hell, then fine, if it gives Krishna pleasure.
And I think this is what as well, it's, you know, ladies like us, it makes us realize, the realization is how important bhakti is for, you know, that they don't care about themselves. All they care is welfare of Krishna. Nothing else matters to them, you know.
Yeah. And it so happens that everything, as Krishna says, anantas chintayantam mam yejana paripasate te sam nityapayuktamam yogik shemi vihamyaham. For those who meditate upon my transcendental form, then I will always carry what they lack and preserve what they have. So in essence, that everything we need will be supplied by Krishna. But that's not the reason we serve Krishna. You understand? It's a bit subtle. It just so happens that Krishna will take care of his devotees. But to render devotional service, think, all right, if I chant Hare Krishna, then I know I'm gonna get everything from Krishna. Everything material. That means that we're kind of, our devotion is what's it called? It's called
Business.
it's business. Yeah, it's covered. It's there's some mix in there.
Mean here.
Yeah, it's not pure.
Yeah.
But it so happens that as we develop in selfless and pure devotion to Krishna, then as described here, there is nothing lacking for a devotee. Krishna makes it, or Krishna provides.
Yeah, and as well, Murli Prabhu, that whenever you take this path, you know, all right, you want material desire, but it just vanishes. The Lord just takes everything away, and it's nothing matters to you. It's just the bhakti, just to serve. That's all it is, you know.
Yeah, so that's the process. That's how it purifies the heart. That you just want to do more devotional service, you know, and you want to do it in a more deeper way. You know, you're not concerned about material things. Yeah. So this is what we're going to hear about. We're going to hear about the glories. Yes, so
I was thinking, but we should practice it from now. Like we have services for Shri Radhalan and Ishwar.
Yeah.
We should always be thinking, how can I dress better? How can I cook? How can I do this for Krishna? The thought should be.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
When I'm doing the schedule, I'm thinking, okay, who can I put for daily sweets, fruit sweets, so they can. Oh, can you make something? Not the cake. Can you make anything else? Can you make? It's because it's for Krishna. That's it.
Yeah.
So we practice it, and that will automatically come later on in life when we see the real Krishna. Well, this is real Krishna, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's why and deity worship gives you a great, it's a great opportunity. There's so many things you can do for Krishna, isn't there? Think of all the different sweets you can make, all the different services you can do. So it's just so many ways you can express your devotion to Krishna through deity worship, you know. And as I said, yeah, so much you can desire for Krishna. All right, let's read on a couple of some more verses.
Okay. 162.
Yeah.
Angry at not hearing those Shrutis and Smritis speak up, some of the great Upanishads and the scriptures like the Agmas who follow in their footsteps openly affirm that devotional service is an independent cause of liberation. Commentary. The more devotional of the Upanishads were angry at the other devotional scriptures who weren't bold enough to say what they knew. And so were certain Vaishnavas, Agmas and Puranas who took the shelter of those Upanishads. Together, therefore, these Upanishads, Agmas and Puranas declared in an uncertain terms that
No
liberation,
uncertain terms, yeah.
uncertain terms,
In
that,
no uncertain terms.
oh, in no, I'm sorry, no uncertain terms that liberation is effortlessly achieved by unalloyed devotional service to the Supreme Lord, as stated in the Brhad Puran. O best of the Brahmanas, there is no doubt that those who are dedicated to Lord Hari's devotional service achieve all the goals of life, known as religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. And in a prayer to the personality of Godhead, we read in Sri Vishnu Puran, what is the value of religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification to one who has firm devotion for you, the root of all the worlds? Liberation sits in the palm of his hands. Text 163. A few confidential Upanishads smiled and kept silent, along with some confidential major Agmas and Puranas. Commentary. The little known, most confidential Upanishad, like the Gopal Tapani, smiled but said nothing. And so did certain Vaishnav Agmas, like the Satvat Siddhanta and few Purans like Srimad Bhagavatam. Some were thinking, just see the power of the Supreme Lord's illusory energy, which makes the essential meaning of the scripture, which should be obvious, incomprehensible to vastly learned authorities. Others were thinking scornfully, who are these Shastras to presume that merely bestowing liberation is a true glory of bhakti? This second group saw no purpose in arguing with scriptures whose outlook was so dissimilar from their own, and even thought it improper that these intimate topics to be discussed in public. Granted, these scriptures thought karma, jnana, and moksha make up the ladder ascending to bhakti, devotional service, and so the glories of Vedic rituals, knowledge, and liberation culminate in the glories of bhakti. Nonetheless, when the main focus of discussion is on lesser spiritual methods, the importance of bhakti can only be hinted at. In certain contexts, its super excellence cannot be properly revealed. With these thoughts in the mind, the Bhagavatam and few other scriptures following the lead of the confidential Upanishads kept quiet.
Yeah, some just like if it wasn't for the Guru Parampara, or if it wasn't for us specifically for Prabhupada's purports, then if we hadn't come in touch with Prabhupada and we came across the Vedas and we started to read the Shrutis and the Smritis and annual Upanishads, there's absolutely no way you'll be to come to the conclusion Krishna's true Bhagavan Swayam.
True.
Be more or less impossible
Yeah.
because of their vastness, and their presentation is often very difficult, and their presentation often comes across as though it's not, comes across as impersonal. There's so many gods are mentioned, etc. If we was to be very rare soul to conclude that Krishna should be worshipped and Krishna is the source of the Vedas. That's why the Bhagavad Gita, for instance, is so valuable, and the Parampara, from what Prabhupada gave us, he's telling us there is no need for us to go through all these scriptures here being mentioned. What's mentioned? Gopal Tapani Upanishad, Sattva Siddhanta, Puranas, Srimad Bhagavatam. It's another subject. It gives bhakti directly. I just thought I'd mention that. Any other comments on that? But so interesting, the scriptures are having a conversation stroke argument amongst themselves. At the moment, Bhagavatam's keeping quiet. Just listening with probably smiling at the conversation. Yeah.
That's the nectar, isn't Bhagavatam?
Yeah. All right, can continue, Marv, unless there's any other comments or questions.
Okay. Text 164 and 165.
Yes.
Serious debate then arose.
Oh, now there's fierce debate now. Go on.
Then arose between the Agmas on one side and scriptures like certain Shrutis and Puranas on the other, about whether or not liberation is achieved merely by chanting mantras that worship the personality of Godhead. Unable to tolerate the debate, the Puranas, Agmas, and Upanishads, who had been silent, covered their ears and left. Commentary. Amanya means the original Vedic text or Shrutis, and in the phrase Amanya Purana Di Bhiha, the suffix Adi Bhiha, and so on, indicates the scripture such as the Dharma Shastra and epic histories. As the previous discussions were left behind and a debate began on a new topic, the Shastras, who were unable to tolerate hearing it or the doubt on which it was based, left the assembly in disgust. They covered their ears to avoid the offense of even hearing doubts that the Supreme Lord's mantras have the power to give liberation. These Shastras, in their own pages, never entertain even a hint of doubts of this sort. Moments before, the confidential Upanishads had taken the lead on keeping quiet, followed by the Bhagavatam and other confidential Mahapuranas. Now, in boycotting the debate, the Bhagavatam and its colleagues took the lead.
Can anyone, are we following this? It's getting a bit, so someone, let me just go back and try to understand it myself. It seems like there's been a hint, or one of the scriptures is doubting the potency of bhakti to actually give liberation. It seems like that?
It's between Agmas and the scriptures, like
Agamas.
Agamas.
Yeah, Agamas. Anyone that I just looked at the word Agama, you might see, but it's the dictionary definition is not correct. It gives it here. You can see me highlighting there. Yeah, then you can see this, isn't it? Look up selection. And Agama is a collection of early Buddhist texts. So the 5 Agamas, no. So the Agamas predate Buddhism, as far as I understand. So that's not correct. I'm not going to go to Wikipedia. It might take us right.
Agama Shastra is mostly about how to build temples and how the deities are, manifested, something related to the temple worship.
Yeah, thank you, Mother Sarchari. Yes, the Agamas, for instance, they give the scientific details of how to set up a yagna according to the planets. and all the fine details of sacrifice and etc. etc. The agamas, yes. So the agamas on one side and scriptures like the Shrutis and Puranas on the other side. All right, so it's an argument between the agamas and the other scriptures. And looks like, and Bhagavatam, now they boycotted the debate. Anyway, let's read on. 166.
Text 166. Then the major Puranas and Upanishads became arbitrators, and so victory went to the Agmas. That pleased me very much. Commentary. Now that the most advanced Purans, Upanishads, and Agmas had walked out on the debate, they were able to give impartial consideration to both sides, and they deemed correct the claim made by the Agmas that liberation is easily achieved simply by chanting mantras, worshipping the personality of Godhead. As stated in Sri Vishnu Purana.
So it looks like we got this wrong. Looks like the agamas are in favor. And they deemed correct that the claim made by the agamas that liberation can be achieved simply by chanting mantras, worshipping the personality of Godhead. So it seems the agamas...
contradictory. The previous one says one way, this text says something else, doesn't it?
Yeah. This is the type of thing where you want to have a pen and paper and you want to, you got to write it and follow follow what's being explained. Perhaps it become clear as you read more. Can continue.
Yeah. Even the sun, moon, and other planets are created and destroyed again and again. But persons who have meditated on the 12-syllable Vishnu mantra have never had to return even till the present day. And Sri Padma Purana gives this opinion. The Supreme Lord is always satisfied when praised by the chanting of his mantras, and so he awards abundant enjoyment as well as eternal liberation. Because Gopakumar was absorbed in chanting the mantra addressed to the Supreme Lord and had no interest in other spiritual practices, he was extremely pleased by the conclusion of the debate. Text 167. Discerning the inner mood of the Puranas, Agmas, and other scriptures who had left the debate, I pacified them with tactful praise and brought them back to the assembly. Commentary. Gop Kumar had noted the grave smiles on the faces of Bhagavatam, Satvat, Siddhanta, and other scriptures who left the assembly. Those signs led him to believe that these few shastras, among all the others, best understood the truth. With humility and adroit praise, he managed to bring them back. Text 168. From those scriptures, the Srimad Bhagavatam and Satvat Siddhanta and other Agmas and the foremost Srutis, I respectfully asked about the truth of the matter, and they replied, commentary, with great respect, Gop Kumar asked the Bhagavatam and other devotional scriptures about the true nature of liberation. He also inquired why they had responded to the discussion the way they had, first by smiling silently and then by covering their ears and leaving the assembly.
Oh, Artie. So it's 7 o'clock.
It's 7 o'clock, yes.
Should we stop there? We did a bit of a short class today. We had a little discussion beforehand, but I guess we can pause there then. And let me just read this last verse. The devotional scriptures said. So now perhaps it's more clear now. Now we're going to hear directly from Bhagavatam, etc. O dear one who have achieved the post of Brahma, this topic is more secret than a rare treasure, but we shall explain it to you because your abundant good qualities inspire us to speak freely. Commentary. In text 169 through 230, the Bhakti Shastra's answer Since Gopakumar holds the post of Lord Brahma, he is worthy of the privilege to hear such elevated topics. One might argue that the secrets of devotional service should not be freely divulged to anyone, not even the Lord of an entire universe, unless he is fully surrendered to the Supreme Lord and his devotees. But then Gopakumar's personal qualifications should be taken into account, especially his eagerness to engage in Supreme Lord's service. Okay, Hari Om Tat Sat. All right, let's pause there then and pick up next week from text 170. Okay, thank you, devotees, for joining us. We had the core team of the core team today. So thank you for being with us, and have a wonderful devotional weekend, and look forward to our readings next week. Okay. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Gopakumar ki jai, Sanat Goswami ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.